Okay, fans of the RPG Fanatic show, this is an unscripted commentary on Final Fantasy IV re-release as part of the Final Fantasy IV Ultimate Collection, Complete Collection, excuse me, for the PSP. Final Fantasy IV. There is so much I could say about this game, and hopefully it's going to be about the first 16, 17 something minutes of the game, so there's quite a bit I can talk about in between this filler time. Final Fantasy IV is the second Final Fantasy game that I ever played, the first being Mystic Quest, as I've explained in the Mystic Quest review. At the time, like most kids, I thought this was the second Final Fantasy game, because it was advertised as Final Fantasy II. In reality, Square had never released Final Fantasy II and III outside of Japan, so their marketing team decided to just call it Final Fantasy II to avoid confusion. But when they did this, they made a number of changes to the script, partly for censoring to meet Nintendo of America's demands. There's a lot of talk about death and killing and evil this and evil that, and there is some sexual discussion and jokes in the game. That was all removed and censored out of it. There was also some changes to the script that had to be done because of the limited font. The characters in Japanese, what's a good way to explain it? Japanese characters, a single character can represent more things than a single character in English can. So there's space considerations when they're trying to translate the game, make it all fit in a little menu box. So some of the translation changes were done because of that. But primarily, I think it was mostly just to meet the censored demands. The other changes that was done to the original Final Fantasy IV, it was called Easy Type, at least it's called Easy Type by fans. North American release. They nerfed a lot of the mechanics. For example, Cecil's Dark Knight ability, Dark Wave, which in this version is translated as Darkness, that was released, it was removed from the Easy Type version. I believe that a lot of the monsters' HP was also reduced because of the removal of some of these special character abilities. Let's see, what else? There was a version released for the PlayStation, the North American version, which included these abilities for the, was it Final Fantasy, I can't remember what it was called, Final Fantasy Chronicles or Final Fantasy, oh jeez, I can't remember what it was. It might have been the one that was released with Chrono Trigger package. There's 2 discs basically for the PlayStation 1 they did a re-release for, and I believe it's the one that came with Chrono Trigger. I could be mistaken, it's been a while, and I'm just going off my memory here. Anyway, that version, we finally were able to officially play with the original abilities, as there had been some fan translations over the years before that release. And the script, however, remained pretty much the original script for the Easy Type, so there was still a great deal of the censoring and the you spoony bard sort of deal, which was nostalgic for a lot of people of my generation, and people appreciated. However, this PSP release, Square is saying, is the first time it's completely uncensored, so you're getting the original, as intended, Japanese version of the script. So, that's nice. That's a plus, I guess. The storyline for this game is pretty good. I would consider it one of the best, not the best, but one of the better Final Fantasy storylines. At least as far as, I haven't played 13, but I played all of them except for 13 and 11. But 11's the online game anyway. Was not that impressed with Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 10, or 9, I have to say, which is disappointing because I really wanted to like Final Fantasy 9, as it had so many throwbacks, and the graphical style itself was a homage to these older, super deformed sprite characters from games like Final Fantasy IV. But, I don't know. A lot of people have various ideas why the newer Final Fantasies after 7 are just not very good stories, or at least not as good of stories as these older ones. But as I've been playing through some of these games as a child and then as an adult, I think a lot of it, honestly, is nostalgia. There's really nothing I can pinpoint about these older stories that makes them better than the newer ones. A lot of people will say it's like there's these emo, angsty main characters, but even this game here, Final Fantasy IV, Cecil has so much angst. It's crazy. At least until he changes into a paladin later on. Oh, spoiler, whatever. Everybody's played this game. There's not really much of a spoiler here. But Cecil has so much angst. Kain has angst. Yane has angst. Edward has angst. Everybody has freaking angst in this game. So I don't think it's a fair criticism to say that the newer Final Fantasy characters are just a bunch of emo teenagers, because all the Final Fantasy games, except for the first one, I suppose, has emo characters in it. Because that's part of character development. You know, things go wrong, the character suffers, and then has to change his perspective or overcome these obstacles by becoming a better person. That's the basic thing of how these stories work. So I don't think it's really a fair criticism to say that, you know, the character has, you know, angst. That's basic story structure. I think a lot of it is nostalgia. Nostalgia peppers our judgment about these older titles and makes us feel that they're more superior than they really are. Dun, 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 dun. I love this music. I do think that the soundtrack of Final Fantasy IV is one of the better soundtracks. Why do I think that? Oh gosh, I'm not even like a music major, so it's probably just nostalgia, again, peppering my judgment about this. Because all of the Final Fantasy games have pretty good music in them. It's gotta be nostalgia. But I will say it's one of my favorite soundtracks. You know, for whatever reason. Nostalgia, that's fine. I love this soundtrack. And of course, Rosa, see, I mean, this is what I'm talking about with the angst. Here's the angst. He's crying about always killing people, becoming a Dark Knight, blah, blah, blah. I can't be with you because you're a white mage and I'm a Dark Knight, and, you know, can't be together. Angst from the very start. And that's what the Final Fantasy games are about. Well, not really about, but that's the kind of character development that they have. It's the cookie cutter plots. But when you really look at all stories, it's really the same thing. Gameplay-wise, Final Fantasy IV, the previous one, 5, had the job system, so you were able to pretty much customize your characters as you like. Final Fantasy IV marked more of a return to Final Fantasy 1, where you didn't have a whole lot of control over the customization of character abilities. However, each character had their own unique ability in Final Fantasy IV, which it wasn't quite the same as Final Fantasy 1. They didn't really have that much unique abilities between the characters. Because even Final Fantasy 2, you were able to pretty much customize your character as you liked. Whatever weapon skills you wanted them to have, whatever magic you wanted them to have, you could give them that. Final Fantasy 3 had the job system. Final Fantasy 4 did not. Final Fantasy 5 had the job system again. So this one marked more of a return back to the Final Fantasy 1 style of gameplay, but with improvements, I think. Each character basically just represented one of the jobs from Final Fantasy 3. Although I don't think they had Dark Knights. I could be mistaken. I don't think Dark Knights was part of Final Fantasy 3. I'm trying to remember the from what little I played of it back in the late 90s on an emulator. So, now we are departing to the Mist Village to do the infamous cave. I say infamous. Well, I don't know about a lot of other people, but at least at my school, a lot of people had difficulty getting through this dungeon with the easy type version. These sort of games, we weren't used to having to stockpile on potions or having to find the level ourselves, doing some exploring around the overworld map. So there were kids who couldn't even find this damn cave. They were wandering around all over the place trying to find where to go. Wander around the town or whatever, and I'll be like, hey, I know where to go. Yeah, this is the cave, but now we have to actually beat it. When we didn't have Cecil's Dark Wave ability, which is badass. I like this version of it. It's like a freaking Hadoken, you know? The original version was more a bunch of waves. But this version is pretty awesome. I really enjoy this graphical update. The mist, you can really make out a lot more than you could in the original version. By the way, in this complete collection, it has the Interlude, which is sort of a side story that takes place between Final Fantasy IV and the after years. That version is pretty much the exact same mechanics as Final Fantasy IV. The only reason you really want to play it is for the story, and to be able to form parties with various characters who, through the normal storyline of Final Fantasy IV, they don't party together. Example would be, I don't think that Yane ever parties with the ninja kid. God, what's the ninja kid's name? Shoot. Let me get the book out. Edge. I don't even need the book. Edge. I just have to use my brain to remember. So I don't think that Yane and Edge ever party together, but in Interlude you can. I know that the kids, Palom and Porom, I believe those are their names, they also didn't get to party with a lot of characters. So now you can have them party with everybody you want. In Interlude. After Years has also had a graphical update, and After Years actually it's pretty much the same combat system as 4, with an addition of moon phases, where the moon is in a certain phase, monsters, certain stronger monsters will appear, like for example, some stronger monsters will appear. Stronger monsters will appear during a full moon phase in certain areas, and certain abilities your characters have and monsters have, like attack, for example. Attack will be stronger or weaker based on the phase of the moon. And this adds a lot more tactics to the battle system. Another addition is bands, which is basically a team attack that your characters can do, but only certain characters are able to form these band attacks. And supposedly, it's the relationship your characters have between them. If they have, like for example, Yane and his daughter Ursula, they have a band attack together. But you can only learn that band attack after a certain point in the game when she gains this other ability. So, otherwise the same Final Fantasy IV combat system everybody knows. But I actually like the improvements to After Years. Wow, I think that's pretty interesting. And of course, we're at the Eidolon, I think that's how you pronounce it, the Eidolon Summon Monster Cave, where we're going to fight the Mist Dragon. Now, Mist Dragon is a pretty easy battle, which is good since we don't really have many potions. All you really have to do is just have Kain jump. I don't have any potions. Isn't this some epic boss battle music? God, this music is so awesome. I'm gonna try Darkness. Hadouken! Ah, shit, that didn't do any damage at all, really. I might as well just use my regular attacks. The dragon turned into mist. Oh, that's right. You can't, if you attack him during the mist, he does this counterattack thing. So I just gotta defend. I'm all rocking out here. Defend! Defend! Defend, defend, defend. He's gotta end this shit soon, hasn't he? Let's see if I can time it. Let's see if I can time it. He's gonna end it. He's gonna end it. He's gonna end it. Please end it, because I don't want to get counterattacked. Ah, shitballs. Fuck. That is not... Please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't die. Oh, that wasn't anything. Okay, okay, I get the tips. Fine. I guess I screwed that one up. I could have swore that, like... My memories must be hazy on this. I could have swore that it didn't stay... Ah, I see now. Ah. They really spill it out for you. Well, that's good for the kids. Jump on him! The dragoon who kills the dragon. Oh, well, I guess Cecil got it. Moving forward. And we are at the village of the summoners. And let's see what this scene is like in the enhanced remake. The arena is glowing. I could have swore it was a package in the original, not the original, I keep saying original, in the easy type version of the translation. I'll have to look that up again. I think it was a package. I've always wondered why these guys, like, attack everything except for the guys who are holding the ring. Isn't that kind of weird? Of course, people over here screaming. And then we're introduced to Rydia. Of course, the time that... You know, I had no idea it was going to be an actual character that you could recruit. I thought it was just going to be, you know, this random girl, a nameless NPC. That really threw me for a loop. I really thought Kane was going to try to kill her, too. This game, jeez. It's really astonishing how much depth there was to the storyline of Final Fantasy IV back then, because there are so many games out at that time which just didn't have hardly any plot at all. You just were dropped into a level and you had to go kill random shit and get to the other end of the level, and that was it. And there's Rydia with her new graphics, and she's gonna bust out a Titan on us any time. Go away! Oh, that's cool. It's pretty good graphics. Ah, damn. He just farted an earthquake on me. That is definitely more impressive than the original version. This graphical update is really cool. Okay, well, I'm going to be ending my commentary here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope it's giving you somewhat of a preview of the enhanced remake. Thanks for watching.